This is very exciting. Finally, people in the UK are getting Star Trek Discovery Season 4. I know there was a little bit of controversy around the sort of sudden delay. How does it feel to finally be kind of rolling out the show here?
So good. So good for that very reason. We were shocked. We were shocked when it all happened, and we were so sad about it and disappointed and discouraged and all those things, because we value the UK so very much. We value all of the fans of the franchise around the world. We truly do. This is a global family, the Star Trek family, and we all feel that way. And so it was very sad when it happened. But then we were very pleased when we saw that less than a year later, here we are, and the launch begins. And it begins here in the UK, of course, in 2 days on the 22nd. But then we go out to Italy and Germany and France and later on this year, and that's exciting too, because what we said to people, what we were assured, and then what we communicated to the fans is that we are coming, that it is going to be launching in your territory, in your country, in a matter of time. And it's nice to be here already. And it's like, the time is now, it's great.
And it's exciting as well. Like, it feels like a big opportunity. The launching of Paramount Plus, obviously formerly known as CBS All Access, but this rebrand has been so huge and obviously involves the international expansion. So does it feel like kind of a big opportunity for the show to sort of reach out and grab a load of new viewers?
Oh my goodness, yes, absolutely. Because, for lots of reasons, one of them being that Trek has always been globally received. It's always been globally, celebrated. And so, we want to continue with that, because as every iteration of Trek has gone since the mid-'60s, it is a reflection of the world that it is in at that time. And so I appreciate bringing in everybody, because we need to continue to have that global perspective, and we need to continue to share Trek around the world, because that message of hope, I think, is a good one to share all around. I think it always will be.
So could you just introduce us to where Michael and her crew are at the start of Season 4?
Yeah, okay, thank you for that question. Yeah, so here we are at the start of Season 4, and Burnham is captain. I, as Burnham, become captain at the end of Season 3, and that was huge and history-making, groundbreaking in television, to be the first Black female captain in Trek. That was huge, and so we still come off of that high at the beginning of Season 4, and we come across some threat that we've never ever encountered before. There's something so unfamiliar about the major threat that we deal with in Season 4. But what I love is that here you have this crew of people that have jumped to this future that is beyond any other Trek, by the way, the year 3188. And now you're going to just continue to see us acclimate to this new future, to figure out where we stand, where we belong, how we fit in. Because we jumped to the future to save the future, and that worked. But now here we are displaced, and all we have is each other. And I love that. There's no stone left unturned with that. There's so much discovery happening with every character, and so much change happening with every character as well. It's one of my favorite things about our iteration, is that there's permanent change. I love that in storytelling. So there's lots to go through, and a lot of settling into who we are and what we're here to do in Season 4. And I'll say this as well, I big up the writers a lot, because there's a lot of parallels between the pandemic and what we're dealing with in the story in Season 4. I think it's a great mirror in that way.
And you mentioned there about like the time jump. It feels like the show has evolved so much since Season 1, kind of like constantly sort of reinventing itself. So is that quite satisfying for you? Does that sort of keep you very engaged with the material, knowing that it can change each time?
Very much so. I mean, I think that as an actor, you find a way to be engaged no matter what. If you're not engaged, then it's a problem. You know what I mean? Because that's gonna, yeah. So there's always that element of engagement, but I do especially love being able to grow and change, as I was saying. And I love the journey. I love the character arc that, I've been able to travel. And I love everyone's arcs because everyone is changing on the show, everyone in the story. And so, yes, thank you also for speaking about the reinvention, because that's very sort of specific to us. There's not that much reinvention with other iterations in the Trek franchise. So it's nice to sort of shift and grow as a whole as well. And we certainly have. We're almost unrecognizable from how we started.
It's really cool. And I'm curious as well, we know that season 5 is going ahead. I believe you've just started filming on that, or production is underway. I was curious though, have Alex and Michelle spoken to you at all about kind of like an end game? Have they got a finale in mind, or is the show very much still rolling forward?
Well, the show is definitely rolling forward, thankfully. But there haven't been talks about the end game yet. We talk a lot about things that we still want to see, or at least they share with me ideas that they have. I talk about things that I would like to see, not just with Burnham, but with others and with the story as a whole. So we do, there is forward thinking, absolutely, and there's foresight being applied, absolutely. But thankfully, we're not having end-game conversations yet.
How long would you be willing to play Michael Burnham? Because obviously Patrick Stewart has just come back for Picard. That's a character he's been playing for decades and decades. Could you see yourself coming back in 30 years' time?
Oh my gosh, yeah, absolutely. And our beloved Kate Mulgrew is back now as well, right? And now, lending her genius to our animated world. And so I appreciate that. I appreciate the opportunities that both of them, Sir Patrick and Kate, have had to come back, because they are just as loved today as they ever were, but perhaps probably more loved. They're legendary. And so to have them back and to have them back in a new way is very exciting to us and then to everybody who loves the show. So yeah, I would. I love Michael Burnham. That would be really cool if I could come back in 30 years. God willing, yeah. We're all, good to go 30 years from now and still watching TV.
Maybe it'll be a hologram by then.
Exactly.
It just
right in front of our faces.
It'll make us seem even more Star Trek,
Exactly.
And it seems kind of fitting, actually. Obviously, it may not be in the original plan, but it seems kind of fitting that Discovery Season 4 is launching in Pride Month, because the show has such strong LGBTQ plus representation.
Yes.
So is that something that you're particularly proud of with the show?
Well, I think just like everything that we've already spoken about, the heart and essence of Trek is about not just innovation, but equality and diversity, right? And I think that there's a deep responsibility with Trek at this point now. There always has been, and there is still this responsibility that has to be acknowledged and has to be accepted, that you must be a mirror to the society that you're in. And so we couldn't just have one type of diversity or one type of progression. We needed to be progressive in every way that we possibly can, so that we can be an accurate depiction of what our world looks like right now. Oh, you know what I mean? So I appreciate that. Because people have to see themselves, and we say that all the time. It's like a catchphrase at this point. People need to see themselves, but it's true. It's just true. That's what story, it can make me cry. That's what story is all about. It's people being able to see themselves. And the positive change that hopefully comes from that hopefully comes from you seeing yourself. Even if it just helps you understand yourself a little bit better. It doesn't matter what it does for you, but if it's something positive, then it's it's worthy of gratitude. And so I love that we are fulfilling that duty that is present, being a part of Trek, by being that mirror.
And there's a huge amount of love for the show, of course, but these days fandom across the board, all fandoms are so divided.
Yes.
There's a lot of bickering and stuff that goes on online.
Yes.
And I know that there are some kind of like diehard Trek fans who say that Discovery is tonally quite different to the original series and have some criticism because of that. I was just wondering what your response to that was.
Yeah, thank you for asking. I love talking about this because let's be real, okay? I'm just gonna be real right now. We are very different than other iterations, and we had to find ourselves. We had to find our identity and settle into it. And the fact that we are hyper serialized, the fact that we have sort of reinvented ourselves, over and over again, and I have to, shout out our writers for that. There are a lot of changes, and because the fan base for the franchise as a whole, and then the fan base for Discovery in particular, it's a highly intellectual, loyal crowd, right? These are very intelligent people who have such a depth of passion and heart and loyalty to the franchise. And so they have an ownership. They've carried it with them for years, and it's meant a lot to them for years. And so because of that, their voices, I think, deserve to be heard. And we appreciate their voices, even if they are in disagreement with us, right? Even if they're criticizing. It's like, but I get where you're coming from, though, because it's because this means a lot to you. And it's hard to be different with something like this. And it was hard for us to be different, but I think we've really found ourselves, and I think our fan base has really found their sort of relationship with us as well at this point. So, that's not to say that we're robots and that we don't care when we hear somebody, being really angry about something that we've done. It's like, oh man, that sucks. But at the same time, we're like, yeah, but we understand where you're coming from. And then there are many people who are like, but I love the changes. There's so many different perspectives. And isn't that the whole point? It's to service so many perspectives, right? That's the whole part of diversity and inclusion. Everybody's got to be represented. So I get it. And it's like, I hear you. But maybe you'll change your mind. And if not, you're allowed. It's all good.
There are so many fans who have been eagerly anticipating these new episodes over here, dodging spoilers. So for those who are kind of going in blind, don't know what to expect, how do you think they're going to feel about how this season pans out, where the story goes?
Oh, I think they're going to love it. I think they're going to love it. Season 4, especially, was such a labor of love. It was in the midst of the pandemic. There was so much tragedy going on in the world and so much tragedy going on in a lot of our lives in the company. And so it was difficult. We knew we were so blessed to be alive and healthy and doing what we love. But it was very challenging, very challenging. So we're especially proud of season 4. And, we're proud of Discovery as a whole because, sort of going back to your last question, I think that we're different in the most magnificent way, if I can say that without sounding like I'm boasting. I think that it's powerful to see a story told in chapters this way and to be able to grow with people in this way and to be able to see the fight for this kind of future. That's what we present with Star Trek Discovery. So, yeah, I am very excited for this launch. I hope people join us, join the family.
I realize that you're not going to be able to say anything too major, but I just wanted to ask, is there anything at all that you can tease about what's coming up in season 5?
Oh, mum's the word. Mom's the word. Is that what you say? Mom's the word. Yeah. A taser will come from the ceiling and get me. I know that it's going to be great. I know it's going to be great, and I mean that. I can tell you that. Lots more Discovery. I can tell you that too.
I have no doubt. But yes, well, great. Thank you so much for talking with us today. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate you. It was lovely talking to you.